Do burglars really avoid houses with dogs? My uncle thought his rescue pit bull Tank was the perfect security system. This dog was massive, looked terrifying, and had this deep bark that could wake the dead. What my uncle didn't know was that Tank was secretly the neighborhood's biggest softie who'd never hurt a fly and had separation anxiety. Last month, someone broke into their house at 3 a.m. while my uncle was working a night shift at the hospital. I only know the full story because my uncle has security cameras everywhere after his motorcycle got stolen last year, plus Ring doorbells on every entrance. The footage shows this burglar creeping through the kitchen when Tank comes padding downstairs, probably expecting my uncle to be home. The guy freezes, probably expecting to get mauled by this 80-pound beast with scars on his face from his previous life. Instead, Tank does something absolutely incredible. He walks over to his overflowing toy basket, carefully picks out his favorite squeaky chicken, this ratty old thing he's had since he was a puppy, and gently places it at the burglar's feet like some kind of peace offering. Then he sits down and does this adorable head tilt like, "Hey new friend, wanna play with me? I'm so lonely." The burglar just stands there completely confused, holding my uncle's laptop in one hand and a bag of jewelry in the other, while this supposedly vicious pitbull is trying to initiate a friendly game of fetch at 3 a.m. like it's Christmas morning. But here's where it gets absolutely crazy. Tank realizes the guy isn't interested in playing, so he decides to try harder. He brings toy after toy: rope, tennis ball, stuffed duck, frisbee, squeaky hamburger, his special blanket, methodically building this growing pile of colorful offerings around the burglar's feet like he's constructing some kind of friendship altar. The guy literally can't move without stepping on squeaky toys, and every single step makes these loud squeak, squeak, squeak sounds echoing through the quiet house like some kind of cartoon sound effect. The security footage actually picks up the audio perfectly. Tank gets increasingly excited, thinking this is the best game ever, and someone finally wants to play with all his toys at once. He starts doing these happy spinning circles and accidentally knocks over a table lamp, then another lamp. Then he crashes into the coffee table trying to grab his favorite rope toy that got stuck underneath. Soon, Tank is just completely demolishing the living room in his enthusiasm to entertain his new midnight friend. Books flying everywhere, picture frames falling off the mantle, couch cushions getting tossed around like confetti, the TV stand getting bumped and tilting dangerously. The noise woke up half the street. Mrs. Baxter next door called the cops, thinking there was a domestic violence situation happening. Mr. Espinoza across the street turned on his porch light. Even the college kids 3 houses down came outside to see what was going on. When officers arrived 20 minutes later, they found the burglar sitting cross-legged on the floor, actually petting Tank and playing tug-of-war with a rope toy, while Tank's tail wagged so hard it was hitting the walls. They were surrounded by literally 30 squeaky toys, broken furniture, scattered books, and what looked like the aftermath of a small tornado hitting a Petco store. Tank was in absolute heaven, tail wagging so hard his whole body wiggled, finally having found someone willing to play with his entire toy collection at once and give him the attention he desperately craved. The burglar looked up at the cops with tears in his eyes and said, "Officers, I know this looks really bad, but this is honestly the sweetest dog I've ever met in my entire life. Can I, visit him in prison or something? Maybe volunteer at the animal shelter when I get out?" Turns out the guy had recently lost his own dog to cancer and just broke down crying when Tank showed him unconditional kindness instead of the aggression he expected. He voluntarily confessed to everything, helped clean up the mess Tank had accidentally caused, and even offered to pay for the broken items. My uncle pressed charges, but wrote a heartfelt letter to the judge asking for leniency and suggesting community service at the local animal rescue. He also finally got a proper security system installed with motion sensors and cameras. Tank still brings his favorite toys to every single visitor, but now my uncle warns people first so they don't get overwhelmed by his enthusiasm. The burglar actually did start volunteering at the shelter after serving his sentence.